Here we are, we're back to the rest of the supplementary aids and services. So if the child needs a paraprofessional support, it should be located in this section here. And it needs to explain the specific responsibilities that the para would provide for the student. And the next part is program modifications and supports for school personnel. So if we're going to modify the program, we are going to lower or change the level of difficulty of the classwork or of a particular test. So we're going to say exactly what we're going to do, when we're going to start it, how many times a week, the minutes, where it's located, if it's in the regular classroom, and then how long in duration that this will be done for. And then what also can be put here is the supports for the school personnel. If the special ed teacher is going to provide suggestions for the regular education teacher on how to help the child perform successfully in the classroom, or if you're going to train a staff member to use assisted technology, this is where you would put that. And the next section is going to be the least restrictive environment explanation. So here and attached I have where we're going to type this in. So we want to explain to what extent we are not going to have the student participate with other non-disabled students in the classroom. And let's go back to the other slide here. And we're going to have, if we're going to have special supports, and then there's different settings. Like if you're going to pull the child out of the classroom and they're going to get some special supports in the resource room, then you would put that here and you would explain what you're going to be doing, if for how much time the child is going to be in the regular classroom, and that you will be pulling the child out to participate in whatever things you're going to work on, if it's fine motor or sensory things, whatever you're going to be working in the resource room, you would put that here. Okay, so this is that section, and the next one is going to be the Minnesota Accountability and Graduation Assessments. And since all students, whether they have a disability or not, all schools participate in statewide and district-wide assessments, which are, by the time a student graduates, they have to have these assessments done at certain grade levels. So if it's inappropriate for a student to take these tests, then you have to state the reasons in the IEP. So here's the attachment for that. And here it states, you would just check this box if you are going to modify the standards or have an alternate exam. So you would just mark the box there. Some of the tests that's like the statewide tests are like the MCAs, and then there's also an alternative assessment, which is the MTAS, which is the Minnesota Test of Academic Skills. And so all of these are geared towards, getting the student to reach the high school diploma. So, and if we do need to make accommodations, we're not, we're leveling what the child is going to be doing, whether disabled or non-disabled. We want to maintain the the same level of the standards for the test, but they just may need assistive technology. There are different combinations. There's the presentation, the response, the setting, the timing, and the scheduling. And the presentation is going to allow other ways to read. If a child is visually impaired, somebody may have to read it to them. And the response accommodations can be shown in different ways. They may be able to use a communication device. And the setting accommodations, they may need to take the test in a different setting. If they're extremely distracted by anything in the room, then that would be done. And the timing and the scheduling accommodations will give them more time to complete the test for whatever reason. And the next section is the transfer of rights at age of majority. So a year before they turn 18, they need to meet with the parent and the student because they can have their rights transferred to just the student. So then the rights will just be to the student. But up until the student is 18, the parents will still have the legal rights to the IEP notices of the meetings. So, but we're trying to get the students to gear towards what's going to happen after high school. So, and then here's what it's going to look like in the IEP, and what date that it will be transferred upon. And the last section is the extended school year. So if this is determined that beyond the regular school year that a student would need this, it's like summer school, but it's not, because it's based on the needs of the child or the student. And it must be stated in the IEP that if the ESY services are required for the student, and if yes, then the services that are required must be written attached. So here's the attachment here. So they would mark yes or no, or if more data is needed, if they're not sure if the child or student needs ESY. And then if yes, then they will write or type in here what services that would be required for that. So, and let's go back to this one here. So, you're not going to be limiting services for the student. These are based on the needs of the child, and they need to be given to you at no cost to you, because it's not the same as summer school. So the factors when you're trying to figure out whether they need the ESY services is, these are all the services or the factors that are considered when determining if ESY is needed. So the progress and the maintenance of the behaviors or the academics of the child, the degree of the impairment, at what rate are they progressing, their behavior problems, and any alternative resources, how they interact with peers without disabilities, and then the areas that would need continuous attention, and the vocational needs. So these are just some of the things you would want to take into consideration when figuring out the needs of whether to do ESY, but it is based on the needs of the student. So that being said, these are my references that I did use. So you are more than willing to look at the references that I used if you do want to learn more. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to contact me, and thank you for letting me present to you today.